I opened my eyes in a room I didn't recognize. The ceiling, the smell, even the sunlight, it wasn't mine. But the body lying on the bed was me. The antiseptic bite of hospital air cuts through your nostrils like a blade. Sharp and unforgiving, carrying with it the metallic tongue of fear that seems to seep from the very walls. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, with the persistence of trapped insects, casting everything in a sickly blue-white glow that makes healthy skin look corpse-pale. Your footsteps echo against polished linoleum floors each step, a hollow percussion that seems to announce your presence to invisible watchers lurking behind closed doors. The corridor stretches endlessly before you, lined with identical doors painted in that particular shade of institutional beige that exists nowhere else in nature. Each door bears a number in black plastic letters: 312, 313, 314 counting, down like a sinister countdown to something you're not prepared to witness. The walls themselves seem to breathe with the building's ancient ventilation system, exhaling the accumulated sorrows of thousands of patients who've passed through these halls. Room 314 looms ahead, its door slightly ajar, revealing nothing but shadow within. But you can hear it, the soft whisper of sheets against skin, the almost silent hum of monitoring equipment, and something else, something that makes your spine tingle with primal unease. It's the who shouldn't be breathing, someone existing who shouldn't exist. You push through the door, and the temperature drops perceptively, as if the room itself is holding its breath. Afternoon, sunlight filters through Venetian blinds, casting prison bar shadows across the white bedsheets that rise and fall with mechanical rhythm. The air tastes of disinfectant and something sweeter, more cloying, the lingering essence of flowers from get-well bouquets that wilted days ago. Their petals now brown and curled like tiny, dying hands. In the center of this sterile sanctuary sits a man who might be David Miller. The clock on the knitstand ticks relentlessly toward 2 o'clock. The rhythmic beep of the machine grows louder, more insistent. And in the unwavering pool of Thetranger's eyes, David Miller dies. His physical form is unchanged, the same calloused hands from years of gripping golf clubs, the same small scar above his left eyebrow from a childhood accident, the same graying temples that his wife once playfully called distinguished. But his eyes belong to someone else entirely. Those eyes move across the room with the calculated curiosity of a tourist in a foreign museum, taking inventory of objects that should be familiar but register as artifacts from someone else's life. The way he holds his head tilted slightly to the right. A gesture David Miller never made suggests a mind processing reality through completely foreign neural pathways. Outside the room, Jennifer Miller sits in a vinyl chair that creaks with every nervous movement. Her body curved inward like a flower dosing against winter frost. Her fingers trace the worn edges of a photograph. Their wedding day, 23 years ago, as if the repetitive motion might somehow transmit those memories through the glass and into the stranger who wears her husband's face. The waiting area smells of burned coffee and industrial carpet cleaner, punctuated by the occasional waft of cafeteria food that nobody has the appetite to eat. Other families drift past like ghosts, each carrying their own invisible burdens. Their footsteps muffled by the thick carpet that absorbs both sound and hope with equal efficiency. Emma and Jake huddle on either side of their mother, their small hands clutching homemade cards that will never be truly received. Emma's card features purple dinosaurs, her father's favorite color, combined with her current obsession, drawn with the careful concentration only an 8-year-old can muster. The crayon marks are bold and confident, innocent of the tragedy they now represent. You can hear Jennifer's breathing change when visiting hours begin, a sharp intake that speaks of hope battling against experience, of love refusing to accept the impossible. The sound of her wedding ring tapping against the chair's metal arm creates a Morse code of desperation. Tap dash tap dash tap, please come back. Tap tap tap, please be there. Dr. Chun's office feels like the command center of a war against the inexplicable. Medical journals tower in precarious stacks, their pages bristling with sticky notes and handwritten marginalia that betray. Sleepless nights spent searching for answers that don't exist. The air carries the scent of strong coffee and determination, tinged with the faint aroma of stress sweat that no amount of clinical professionalism can completely mask. Her desk lamp creates a warm island of light in the otherwise dim room, illuminating brain scans that look like abstract art painted in shades of gray and white. Each image tells the same impossible story: healthy tissue, normal function, perfect architecture, housing an alien consciousness. The leather of her chair creaks as she leans forward, her voice dropping to a whisper that makes the room feel smaller, more intimate, more conspiratorial. Her words hang in the air like smoke, each syllable carefully weighted with the gravity of implications that stretch far beyond medicine into the realm of philosophy, theology, and terror. Through her window, the city sprawls below, millions of people going about their evening routines, each secure in the assumption that they'll wake up tomorrow as themselves. None of them know how fragile that assumption might be. None of them can see the pattern that Dr. Chun has been mapping with increasing red pins on a world map that suggests something far more organized and intentional than random medical anomaly. As darkness settles over the hospital like a heavy blanket, the building transforms into something altogether more sinister. Emergency lighting casts long shadows that seem to move with malevolent purpose, and the normal daytime sounds give way to an orchestra of Ennie's the distant weeping of families. The soft squeak of wheels on gurneys, the whispered conversations of night staff, who speak in hushed tones about things they don't understand. In room 314, the man who looks like David Miller sits upright in bed, his silhouette framed against the window like a portrait of loss itself. City lights twinkle beyond the glass, each one representing someone sleeping peacefully in their own identity, unaware of how precious and precarious that gift truly is. Jennifer has fallen asleep in the visitor's chair, her head tilted at an angle that will leave her neck aching come morning. Her hand still clutches that wedding photograph, her thumb having worn smooth the spot where David's face smiles back at the camera. Even in sleep, her brow furrows with the weight of questions that have no answers. How do you mourn someone who is still breathing? How do you love a stranger who shares your husband's DNA but none of his soul? The night air through the partially open window carries the scent of rain, approaching petrichor mixed with urban exhaust and the distant smell of hospital cafeteria coffee that never stops brewing. It's the smell of a world continuing to turn despite the impossible grief contained within these walls. Dawn creeps through the hospital windows with reluctant fingers of pale gold, illuminating a scene that daylight makes somehow more tragic than darkness ever could. The harsh morning sun reveals every detail with unforgiving clarity. The stubble on the stranger's face that grows in David's exact pattern. The hands that once held children but now lie motionless as if they've forgotten their purpose. Jennifer stirs in her chair, that moment between sleep and waking when she might still believe this is all a nightmare. But consciousness returns with the cruel weight of reality, and her sharp intake of breath cuts through the morning quiet like a prayer that will never be answered. The replacement, David turns toward the sound, his movements fluid but somehow wrong too controlled, too calculated, lacking the unconscious familiarity of a man in his own body. When he speaks, his voice carries David's timbre, but none of his warmth. Good morning. Are you someone I should know? The question hangs in the air like incense in an empty church, heavy with implications that stretch beyond this room, beyond this hospital, beyond the comfortable boundaries of everything we thought we knew about human consciousness. And in the growing light of morning, you realize that witnessing this moment has changed. You too that, seeing a soul disappear, has left you forever questioning the permanence of your own. Outside the window, the city awakens to another ordinary day. Its millions of inhabitants secure in identities that might be far more fragile than any of them dare imagine. If your identity was stolen, would you even know it? Like, if your mind's spinning. Subscribe for part 2, where he learns the truth about the implant. Comment below, what would you do if you woke up in someone else's life?